In the Falkland Islands, we observed two colonies of king penguins. The first was this small colony on Saunders Island at a narrowing of the island called the Neck. The king penguin breeding cycle is quite unusual, both among penguins and the bird kingdom more broadly. Breeding pairs typically breed twice every 3 years, with a full breeding cycle taking 13 to 16 months. Due to this irregular breeding cycle, at any time of year, some birds are foraging, some are nesting, and some are in colonies, mating, molting, or roosting. Most nesting areas will host a mix of chicks, immature, and adult birds at various stages of development. Most king penguins don't begin to breed until they are between 5 and 6 years old. They are known as serial monogamists, taking one partner each breeding season and working together to raise their chick before choosing a new partner the following year. 70% find a new mate the following season. Saunders Island can be a very windy place, but the penguins didn't seem to mind. This great picture was taken by Phyllis, a member of our tour group, who graciously allowed me to use it. King penguins don't build nests. After mating, the female lays one egg, which the male and female take turns cradling on top of their feet. They keep the egg warm with a special flap of naked skin called the brood pouch. I'm assuming there was an egg under these pouches, even though we never actually saw one. The egg hatches after 50 to 60 days, and the parents continue to take turns minding their chick and foraging for food to sustain them. Newly hatched king penguin chicks have little or no down, but after around 40 days, they are fully covered in a mass of fluffy brown down. Chicks remain brown until their first molt, when they get their adult plumage. They receive their full adult plumage at around 3 years of age. We saw many chicks in various stages of molting, which I thought made them look quite hilarious. King penguins forage at sea up to 620 miles from their colonies. Their diet generally includes squid and fish. Like most seabirds, king penguins store their food and regurgitate it later to feed their chicks. Their small colony was located at the top of this rocky hill, and it looked like it took so much effort to go back and forth between the colony and the ocean. My nickname for these brown chicks was Sausage Boys, and they kept me quite entertained as I watched them waddle around, I'm assuming hoping to be fed. Oh no, here he comes. So, isn't anybody gonna feed me? Maybe I'll have better luck over here. I guess not. Because this smaller penguin still had some brown down on the back of its neck, I'm assuming it was the chick of these two parents, but it was almost fully molted. It was also cheeping, so it wasn't a fully grown adult. I thought this was a cute interaction between this Magellanic penguin and this king penguin chick. It is common for king penguins and gentoo penguins to nest close to each other. The small colony at Saunders was next to a gentoo colony, and here at North Beach on Sea Lion Island, there were two kings in the middle of a gentoo colony, one of which may have been incubating an egg, but again, I'm not sure. The second king penguin colony we visited was at a place called Volunteer Point, which was a couple hours north of Stanley, the capital of the Falklands. This colony was very large and surrounded by a number of grazing sheep. It was also quite a distance from the ocean, forcing the penguins to make a fairly long waddle to the sea. They didn't seem to care that we were there and allowed us to get very close to them, which was very fun. Males court females with trumpeting calls and visual displays, bowing, stretching to their full height, and raising their bills skyward. Males and females may also groom one another in preparation for mating. Courtship can last up to 1 month. Is that what these penguins were doing? I have no idea. I wonder what this guy's problem was. Are these two staring dreamily into each other's eyes with their little sausage boy in the background? Who knows? Around 40 days after hatching, chicks are large enough to survive on their own. Covered in fluffy brown down, they band together to form groups called creches. Chicks rely on each other for warmth and protection from predators while they grow and learn how to survive on their own. Most chicks go through 3 stages of development. An initial growth spurt, during which time they grow almost to full size, although they are still covered in brown down. Then a period of fasting and weight loss during winter, and a final growth spurt and molt before fledging. King penguins become fully independent around 16 months after birth. Most parents leave their chicks in the creches to forage for themselves and their chicks, leaving a few adult birds to watch over the creche. This is sort of a communal care of offspring. They had plenty of grassy areas where they could form their creche, but of course they chose this mud pit. Typical kids. This is definitely one of the funniest things I've ever seen while observing nature. Some chicks in their different stages of molting. I guess this guy just got through rolling around in the mud. Is he pathetic looking or what? There was an awful lot of slapping going on. King penguins slap each other as a form of social interaction, essentially acting like a form of penguin flirting or posturing. This slapping often happens when male penguins are trying to attract a female, showcasing their strength and fitness. Also, by slapping each other, penguins can establish their position within the group, potentially deterring other males from approaching their chosen mate. This physical interaction is also a way for penguins to communicate without vocalizations, conveying their intentions and social status. It's also just downright funny to watch. King penguins are highly vocal birds that use a two-voice system to communicate. The parents use vocalizations to find their chicks in noisy colonies. The chicks learn their parents' calls within the first month of life, and they use the lower of the two frequencies in the parental call to identify their parents. This two-voice system of king penguins is an individual recognition system that helps them identify each other even when there are few landmarks. King penguin chicks stimulate regurgitation from their parents by tapping the parent's bill and cheeping. The parent then regurgitates partly digested food into the chick's open bill. Since king penguins can identify their chicks by their distinctive calls, and they only feed their own chicks, I can only assume that this chick was trying to get fed by a parent that was not his. However, according to one website, king penguins will sometimes feed the chicks of neighboring penguins. This behavior, called alloparental feeding, where adults other than the parents feed the offspring, helps ensure that as many chicks as possible survive. King penguins work together to feed their chicks, apparently, which helps ensure that every chick gets fed. So maybe this is what this chick was hoping for. Or maybe this is one of the chick's parents, but he or she doesn't have any more food left or isn't ready to feed yet. I just don't know. I'm not really sure what was going on here, but that chick sure was persistent. I'm not sure what was going on here, but several chicks of different ages wandered over to this group of adults wanting to be fed. Eventually, these adults began slapping and pecking at these chicks. If they were the parents, maybe they were trying to tell the chicks that they didn't have any food or that they weren't ready to feed. I just don't know. The king penguins in this colony had to trek a fair distance to get to the ocean. King penguins are the second largest penguin behind the emperor penguin, and they are excellent divers. On foraging trips, king penguins repeatedly dive to over 300 feet and have been recorded at depths greater than 1,000 feet. They can also stay underwater for several minutes, and they make multiple dives during foraging trips. They can also drink salt water because their stomachs separate the salt from the water. Because of their larger size, king penguins time their mating so the chicks will develop over the harshest season for fishing, which is the winter. By the time they are mature enough to leave their parents, it is summer, when food is plentiful and conditions are more favorable to survive alone at sea. Once the young penguins leave, they won't return to the colony until at least 3 years later when they are able to mate, even though most won't actually mate until they are 5 or 6 years old. thought penguins only went to the ocean to hunt and to forage for food, but this small group seemed more interested in just enjoying the sun and the surf. These two may have originally intended to go fishing in the ocean, but it looks like they decided to have some fun in the sun with their friends instead. The penguins had this beautiful beach pretty much all to themselves. I'm not sure if all these tracks were Kings or Gentoos or Magellanics, but this beach sure did get a lot of foot traffic. Penguin feathers are waterproof because they are coated with oil and have a unique structure that helps repel water. Penguins have an oil-producing gland at the base of their tail, and they use their beaks to spread this oil over their feathers. The oil creates a waterproof barrier that insulates the barbules. Penguin feathers also have tiny pores that trap air, making the surface water repellent, and they have nano grooves that force water off the feathers. These feathers are densely packed together and help trap air and insulate the penguin. The waterproof feathers help penguins stay dry and warm in cold, icy waters, and they also reduce air pockets so penguins don't float while swimming or diving. Their feathers effectively create a sleek, streamlined surface that allows them to sink easily underwater and minimize buoyancy. Speaking of feathers, this adult is having its annual molt, which will last about a month. When they molt, they lose all their old feathers and grow a new waterproof coat. They will fast on shore during their molt. They also have interesting feet and flippers. Their feet are made of bone, keratin, web skin, and special fats to prevent freezing. Their flipper bones are short, massive, and flattened, which results in a stiff paddle. The feathers on the upper side of the flippers are also very short and stiff. Seeing these amazing nesting colonies of king penguins in their natural habitat was a dream come true for me. I loved observing their funny behaviors, hearing their loud, unique calls, and the sausage boy chicks just made me laugh all the time. When they stared at each other or poked each other or seemed to be having a groupthink session or just playing in the waves, they seemed so relatable, even though I have no idea of what goes on in a penguin brain. King penguins are beautiful, funny, unique, amazing birds, and I thank God for allowing John and I to go on this remarkable adventure of a lifetime. It was a memorable experience that I will always treasure.